How are you? I'm just gonna use this because it's being recorded and live streamed. This will be available on Briana's website. Just Google Briana Ashley Stewart and you'll be able to view asynchronously. Thank you for everyone joining us on the interwebs. It's really appreciated, and thank you to everyone here in the audience. I'm Demetria Shields. I am playing the role of principal consultant at Shields Education, Entertainment, and Consulting. That was the principal consulting company on this project. I have several roles, as many of you know, but that's my key role today, and I'm also gonna be playing the role of a setup person, but we'll do that later, okay? That was a joke. I'm here to introduce the wonderful Briana Ashley Stewart, but before she comes out, I'm gonna just give you a little background on this project that we have ventured on. It's a 2-year planning process that we underwent. Prior to my current role as the manager of individual giving at Detroit Opera, I was the community programs coordinator within the School of Music, Theater, and Dance's Office of Engagement and Outreach. And I had been planning this symposium with Briana as a curricular engagement for 2 years with the former chair of the dance department, and then we had to pivot and funding became available from the Arts Initiative. We applied for the grant and we were awarded the grant, and now we are here. So this is a very exciting opportunity, yes. A little bit about Briana and myself. We actually grew up dancing together at a place named Detroit Windsor Dance Academy when we were little. I need this. This has thank yous on it.
You might want us to turn ours off.
Oh yeah, thank you. Turn your phones off, please. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, so Briana and I began dancing as young people together in Detroit, and we matriculated to Cass Tech High School's dance workshop. Any Cass technicians out there? Yeah, so we were in Cass Tech's dance workshop, and I don't take it lightly to say, and I'm not blowing smoke up but we were pretty good. And that allowed us the opportunity as young people to actively question, were we going to pursue careers in dance? And Briana was staunchly not going to pursue a career in dance. So she will tell you more about that, but she's a dancer now. Still, which is pretty awesome, and I think that I want to say that I'm really proud of her for venturing out the way that she has, which is really bold and risk-driven. So she'll tell you more about that. But without further ado, Briana.
For today, goodbye. For tomorrow, good luck. And forever, go blue. Sorry. These words take me back to my last moments on campus as an undergrad. It's 2013 at the Big House. Former University of Michigan President Mary Sue Coleman said these words as she did so many times before at my graduation. I'm sorry. Although I didn't think much about it, it would actually be the last time I hear them before I go off into the unknown armed with a BFA in dance and a BA in sociology, as well as the knowledge, wisdom, and experiences Michigan gave me to find my purpose and impact as an artist. Family, friends, and strangers would tell me how brave I am for pursuing dance and that the risks would be plentiful, but little did I know risk-taking would be my literal best friend in forging a path I couldn't even imagine, taking me from Michigan to the world with Mary Sue's wish of good luck, getting me through every tomorrow since 2013. Oxford Dictionary defines risk as the exposure to the possibility of loss or injury or adverse or unwelcome circumstance. How do you define risk? The possibility of failure, jumping into the unknown just plain old scary? For me, risk is a chance, potential, the possibility of something greater. And risk is what you choose to make of it. Risk number 1, post-graduation, move to live away from home for the first time in your life. But instead of moving to New York City like a lot of dance grads do, move to Washington, D.C. to pursue an internship in grants and individual giving at an organization called Dance Place. Honestly, post-graduation, I didn't think New York was the place for me, and I wasn't really sure of my next steps, but I did know that I was interested in the behind-the-scenes work with dance-related work. So my mom and I packed up my car and drove down to DC. Happen chance that same weekend there was an audition for Step Africa, a professional stepping company. Just 2 months into my internship, I find out that I booked my first job as a full-time professional dancer. I had started stepping with my sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, so stepping was already a part of my identity and culture. But Step Africa takes it to a whole nother level. Through performances at universities and theaters and arts and education programs and workshops, I saw a very culturally rooted art form inspire, move, and empower communities around the world. After 2 seasons teaching, performing, and traveling with the company, I decided to take an even bigger leap. Risk number 2, quit the company, move out of my 1-bedroom apartment in DC, sell all of my belongings, including my car, and buy a one-way ticket to Ireland to start what would become a 6-month Euro trip. Or maybe that's risk 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Honestly, I just wanted to see the world. I was curious about dance in other places, and I had questions about other types of cuisine, art, and cultures. My travels took me to around 12 countries and 15 cities, mostly in Europe and a bit of Asia as well, and exposed me to all sorts of art and artists and work. Though, after 6 months, I was low on cash, so I bought my return ticket back to Michigan. Now, at this point, I don't have a job, an apartment, a car, and barely any money, but I knew I had a chance. I knew that I could move literally anywhere in the world. So one day, I asked myself, well, Briana, where was the last place that you felt like happiest? Brussels, Belgium. A calm comes over me, and I know exactly what I need to do. Risk number 3, move back to Washington, D.C. to start working on your visa application and embrace full-time freelance dance life, unknowingly stepping into dance entrepreneurship, teaching private and group lessons for kids and adults, working the front desk at a salsa studio, creating and performing my own choreography, working with contemporary dance company S.J. Ewing and dancers, teaching dance and community-based programs, and cat-sitting for cheap rent. Without me even recognizing it, this uncharted path was creating itself. A path lined with curiosity and a penchant for risk-taking. A path that would lead me to a country that you can drive across in just 3 hours, and who's nestled between France, Luxembourg, Germany, and the Netherlands, and whose delicacies include fries, which are not French, they're Belgian, beer, chocolate, and waffles. And yes, people do enjoy these delicacies on a daily basis. Now, you might be wondering why Belgium? Like, of all the places I visited, of all the countries, I'd say that it's the vibe, the people, the lifestyle, tons of art, tons of opportunities. You know, honestly, I sometimes say that I think I was Belgian in my past life because it's just kind of intuitive. It felt like, and it still feels like, it is the place for me. Yeah, there's something very special about Belgium. I can't quite put my finger on it, but after 8 years, I honestly could not imagine being in Belgium and how my whole journey has led me to this point in my life and career. So that leads me to risk number 4. Move to Belgium without any solid work or contracts. Take yet another risk, because honestly, at this point, what did I have to lose? So I'm in Belgium, and I start asking myself questions like, how will I find work? Who should I connect with? What do I want to do? What am I doing? I didn't freak out, but I did feel just a little lost. And I knew that I kind of just needed to start, honestly. So after dancing with Step Africa, I was curious about sharing stepping in Belgium. So I started posting dance videos on social media. I'm meeting dancers, taking classes, going to shows, responding to open calls, auditions, you name it. Honestly, nothing was off limits. I started to embrace something I like to call creative living for dancers, taking the creativity I use in studio and applying it to my everyday life. Staying open, asking questions, improvising, finding creative solutions to everyday problems, and becoming a yes woman to any and all opportunities. So one day, my Spanish roommate comes back to the apartment and says, "So Briana, there's this theater looking for a Black woman who sings. You're Black. Do you sing?" I hesitate because honestly, I had been struggling with stage fright pretty much my entire life. But I stop and I say, "I sure do." This led to a private audition with the artistic director and music director, and then an extensive tour throughout Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. Just 40 minutes of singing and moving in a children's opera called Whoosh. And yes, I did end up getting over my stage fright. At the same time, I'm out and about, I'm meeting new people. "Hi, I'm Briana, I'm American, I moved here, a couple months ago, and I'm a dancer, I'm a professional dancer." And people would say, "Aw, I wish I could dance," or, "Man, I used to dance, it's been so long." This led me to booking studio space and teaching weekly classes in English, the latter being an important part because the main languages in Brussels are French and Dutch. So English-speaking programming is a bit unheard of or not really available. What started off as one weekly class has now expanded into a small dance program called the Everyone Can Dance program for adults. And there are now 8 weekly classes, monthly workshops, 3 teachers, including myself, and a community WhatsApp group. At the same time, there was an open call for artists in residence at this organization called City Lab Piano Fabrique. I applied, interviewed, and was chosen amongst a small cohort of artists. With City Lab, they provided free studio space, grant writing assistance, coaching, really anything we needed to get our work off the ground. By the end of my residency, I received a project subsidy grant from the Flemish government to produce a sold-out premiere of my latest evening-length work, Moving Meditations, at the Royal Flemish Theatre in Brussels. Since then, we've toured pretty extensively around Belgium and also had our first international date or tour in Den Haag in the Netherlands. So I'm gonna stop there because honestly, the stories I could tell you all are honestly endless, so many stories. But I just want you to imagine moving to a foreign land with nothing but your ideas, an open mind, and possibility. I honestly could not have imagined how all of these smaller decisions and curiosities and risks would have led me to these moments in my life and career, and honestly, to Belgium of all places. But have you noticed that in your life? smaller decisions that rerouted you, questions or curiosities that opened new opportunities, or risks that seemed really scary, but once you took that risk, you actually ended up growing for the better? And if not, why not? What's holding you back? What are you curious about? What could be that one step that gets you closer to your goals? Now, I'm not suggesting that you buy a one-way ticket to a distant land or quit your job and quit school and go off somewhere, but I do hope that my story and words will inspire you to stay curious and take risks that could lead you to your next adventure. And you could start right here, right now. For any current students, are you afraid to sign up for that class or join that student group? Just go for it. Any SMTD students, if you're nervous to audition for that upcoming production, just go for it. Any faculty and staff, if you have an idea or a project you'd like to get off the ground, go ahead and pitch it at your next staff meeting. And for my family and friends, if there are any goals that you've been meaning to accomplish that you say can't stop thinking about, just take that one step that'll get you closer to it. Remember that you are the author of your story. You determine what comes next. So what story do you want to write and tell others about? What could be your risk number one? Whatever you decide to do, I'd like you to remember that there are always people rooting for you, just like Mary Sue Coleman told me my last day on campus. And although today is not your graduation, I'd like you to remember that today is lined with possibility, tomorrow is full of good luck, and forever chart your own path. Go Blue. Thank you.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That was awesome. What an awesome story. And I just want to say a couple of words on why I felt like that needed to be shared. I think that in university systems and in conservatory systems, as students, they often have their head down. I know I had my head down when I was studying in undergrad. And then you're met with the moment where it's time to go compete globally with other artists. And you're either stunned and shocked, or stunned, shocked, and scared. And that can prevent you from making vital choices that lead to your flourishing. I was faced with those challenges and had to overcome those barriers. And Briana dealt with those things and figured out how she had to move forward. And it's constantly figuring that out every day, and I admire that completely. So that's why I believe in this work. That's why I was a staunch advocate for this work. That's why I was really gunning for her to share this with people, because not only being of a marginalized group and being from where we are, Detroit, Michigan, these stories aren't often shared, so I was really happy to push this work forward. So thank you again, Briana. Before I step into my role of stagehand, I want to say some thank yous, because this work wouldn't have been possible without a bunch of people. So I want to thank the University of Michigan, Arts Initiative, and Mark Clegg and the grant administrators over there. Mark is really an awesome person. I'll say more about him soon. School of Dance, Jillian, Amy, and Robin. Excel, the Office of Excel. Flint, Shelby Newport specifically over there. Office of Student Affairs, Sarah Jane Rao, Robin Myrick, Erin Feiner, and the entire Office of Engagement and Outreach. The Cast Tech Dance Department, Jameson and the great people at Sly Pup, and Briana. Really want to thank everybody. Again, 2 years of planning, tons of collaboration. It was just really great to work with everybody to get this done. Thank you all again. Okay, I'll be back in like 2 seconds as the host. welcome back. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Okay, just so the people online know, and some of you here may not know, I'm just gonna go over what this 2-week residency consisted of, just generally so you guys know the depth at which we dug in to engage with multiple communities. Week 1 consisted of Briana teaching a masterclass during an already scheduled Africanist traditions class, as well as a general masterclass in the dance department as well. She also taught to a group of students in the Comp for Minors class. Then Briana had a student chat / talk with the Excel students in the Excel lab. Then she engaged in Detroit, Michigan at Cass Tech. We coined that the Cass Tech Dance Lab, which is really cool. Week 2 was a dance minor masterclass on the U of M Flint campus, and this culminating event here at Stamps. So really fun work. All of this, or clips of this, will be put together in a sizzle reel, and I'll be preparing an impact report that you all get as well as it'll be available through the Arts Initiative as well. So really excited to share that. Without further ado, we're going to move on to the next segment of the evening, which is a moderated chat. The moderator, Mark Clegg, is the Executive Director of the Arts Initiative and tenured professor in the School of Music. I really admire Mark's purview as it relates to platform careers, and he'll share more about platform versus portfolio careers and some of the pedagogy he teaches students here. It's really a critical point of view as it relates to my own experience as an artist living in New York. And when he discussed this with me, I was like, wow, that's what I was doing this entire time? Okay, great. So without further ado, Mark Clegg and Briana. Left. You sit on the right side.
And well, that was so amazing to see that TED-style speech, and you just blew us all away, and you have some love in this house, so that's really awesome to see. Awesome. We're all so excited to talk to you, and I guess the thing I wanted to know is, what did it feel like when you landed in Brussels? I mean, in a way, for the second time, you just sort of gave it, threw all caution to the wind, you took that risk. Right? Yeah. But this time you didn't have all the money from the car proceeds.
Yeah, that's true.
But you still had to pay the rent. So what was that like?
Well, before I moved, what did I do? Oh, so I went back to DC, and I ended up working as a freelancer for 2 years, and I saved up money. So as I was cat sitting.
Okay. So you had a little bit of cash.
Yeah,
a little bit of
and I actually did a GoFundMe. So my family and friends also donated and helped me to also get on my feet.
All right, thank you.
So, it was very helpful. Thank you again for that. And that's pretty much how I started. Yeah, as soon as I got to Brussels. So I had a buffer of a couple of months to cover rent and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say you showed up and you basically just had an idea and you had, but it sounded like you had some real skills that you brought with you. I mean, what do you think are those key things that allowed you to navigate that moment?
That's a really good question. I think what's interesting in general about moving into a different place or just getting out of your comfort zone is you have to adapt. You have to really be observant and pay attention to the things around you. And this is, of course, in settling in a new place, but also trying to crack into, especially the arts world. Because when I moved to Belgium, no one knew that I existed, honestly. And 8 years later, it's actually quite different. People are really familiar.
Had you met people there before that you reconnected with, or did you go in pretty much starting over?
Yeah, during my Euro trip, I did meet people and I reconnected with them, but that was a very small group. So little by little, I had to pretty much build a network of colleagues, if you will, and also friends. It was really building a life from the ground up. And there were some ups and downs, as you can imagine. But I just kind of kept moving. I knew I wanted to be in Belgium. That was the one thing that in my low moments, I was like, I really want to be here, so I have to just keep going. So it's also that sense of that will, and the reason why is also really important in doing really anything that you want to do or accomplish.
So you've been home for, what, week, 10 days or so?
Something like that, yeah.
Nearby, reconnecting, and it's clearly been very emotional to reconnect. Is Belgium totally different than Detroit, or do you feel like there's some commonalities?
It is quite different in that it's also very walkable. So every time I come home, I have to get a car. It's tough for me to always be sitting in a car. But in Belgium, they have like public transportation. So getting around the city is just, I guess, easier. But it's also a lot smaller than Detroit, which is a lot different. But I do think what they share in common is this sense of like creativity and culture. So I actually grew up in the Cultural Center in Detroit, and I think being around like the African American Museum, the Science Center, the DIA, I think that played a role in me loving art. So going to Belgium, there are also a lot of museums, there are a lot of festivals, there are a lot of events. So that's what I kind of find is similar, but I think lifestyle-wise, it's different in that way.
Looks like we have something coming in. You gonna get that?
Yes.
Hi. So, I want to introduce our Zoom guests. They're going to be a part of this conversation.
Oh, great.
And here they are. You have Jonathan, Nadine, and Alexandria. We decided to include artists from around the world that have varied experiences that could maybe add to this perspective. So you have Jonathan, Nadine, and Alexandria, and they're just going to join us on Zoom. So give them a round of applause.
All right, well, welcome everybody. Why don't we start, Jonathan, why don't you say hi? You're an actor, a voice coach, a drama teacher, a writer. What am I leaving out?
Father, perhaps. The personal life as well. No, that's pretty much covering everything. I like to think that you have to diversify to survive a little bit now. So everything is related, and you learn and you pass on your knowledge as well. So I think all those topics cover both those aspects of my life as well.
And where are you joining us from today, geographically?
I'm in Brussels, in Belgium. So Briana and I are reasonable neighbors. We don't live too far apart.
That's great. Now, Nadine, you're a choreographer, dancer, poetess, actress. And where are you today?
Yes, hi everyone. I am in Brussels right now.
All right, we've got the international connection. I'm sensing a pattern here. And Alexandria, you are an audio engineer and motion graphic artist.
Hey.
Hey. Are you also in Brussels, or are you going someplace different?
I'm based in Brussels, but I'm currently in London for the night.
Well, great. Well, I sense that you're all friends of a certain star and award winner we have with us today, Briana. We were just talking about her coming into, taking risks and trying new things. And I guess one of the things I wanted to ask all of you, none of you do just one thing. Just sort of like you were saying, Jonathan, that these days it's good to be many things. So when did you start thinking of yourself in the sort of plural professionally? When did you shift from thinking of yourself as an artist with a single deep disciplinary level of training? Maybe that was never the case, but so often when we train students, they audition for a very narrow thing, and I worry almost when they're in school it becomes more and more narrow, right? Because they're told the world is so competitive, and yet all of you have stretched out and now do a panoply of things. Maybe even think of yourself as an entrepreneur. So maybe can you, each of you maybe tell us when that switch happened for you? Was it something that you did intentionally, or was it someplace you just found yourself inhabiting? And why don't we start with Nadine?
Hey. Okay, let's start. This is an honor. I started with dance, actually. Like I say often, dance is my mother tongue. This is how I started my artistic journey. And things changed when I decided to mix poetry with dance. And that was a game changer for me. It really allowed me to expand my artistic expression beyond any limitation that I had before just thinking myself as a dancer. I realized that I had something even more to bring than dance. So that was a game changer when I mixed dance and poetry together. And I have discovered great wealth in my artistic proposition and palette. So this is the way I really discover myself. Yes.
And did you always do poetry, but you just started, or how did poetry enter your life?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I used to write to express my feeling, but nobody really knew it. Nobody. People knew me as a dancer, and so writing was more something that I did for myself. But in 2015, I wrote a poem that really changed my life because I decided to set a scene for this poetry in 2016 in a dance solo theater piece. And this is the piece that really changed my life because ever since I find my artistic signature, yes, mixing dance and poetry. I discovered that poetry needed a space more than words to be expressed. So yeah, my signature is to put poetry into movement and to share it with the world.
Oh, that's wonderful. Alexandria, how did you become a hyphenate artist?
Well, I would say that a lot of that aspect of myself has to do with the fact that I have ADHD. So it's kind of like always been an aspect of my personality. And whenever people ask me in job interviews, like, what's your biggest strength and what's your biggest weakness? I'm a big believer that those things are the same thing. And it just depends on how you look at it and what day it is. And ADHD is one of those things for me. You know, on the one hand, it's very hard to focus for long periods of time on something. Like either you hyper focus or it's very hard to focus on things. And then when you do hyper focus, a lot of the time after a few weeks, you get disinterested. So finding that balance between things that motivate me and inspire me and can lead to this ability to focus, but also not one that's like such a flame passion that I drop it after a few weeks. So I think growing up has been a big part of maturing for me, has been learning how to find balance in life with those aspects.
That's fascinating, just sort of how you sort of build in that alternation, that conversation with different parts of your creative life, and then that reinforces and creates its own magic. So that's beautiful. Jonathan, what about you?
Yes, well, I mean, I think I was ticking along quite nicely as an actor and also as a corporate actor in the business world. But the real turning point for me, and the change came out of necessity really, was the financial crisis back in 2007, 2008. And I actually lost probably 40-50% of my work from one month to the next. So I suddenly had to, with a young family, I had to kind of reevaluate and decide how to progress a little bit. So I decided to reinvent myself really as a voice coach, putting into practice a lot of the elements I'd learned as an actor, putting more into the business world. So perhaps more a sustainable career through business as well. And also that's when I started teaching in international schools, teaching drama as well. So that I had really more of a stronger financial basis for me to be able to then to continue to be an actor and enjoying what I'm doing.
No, that's great that you're able to sort of create opportunities in a negative environment by
Yes, out of necessity as much as anything, but it was an opportunity. Briana was talking about that earlier. You've got to take risks. You've got to have one eye on on the future all the time, and that's what happened to me.
Great. Briana, what about you? When did the word entrepreneur enter your lexicon?
It's a really good question. It's funny, thinking back, I remember I was taking a teaching methods class in the dance department, and I was like, I'll never be a dance teacher. I don't like teaching. And then I took it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. I was teaching like a non-major class, and I was like, oh, I do like to teach. Okay, so I guess, okay, let's do this. Because I find that when I teach in particular, I feel like I don't know, I just feel so kind of alive, energetic, like being on stage is like one energy, but sharing the craft is like another thing at the same time. And then I think like when I moved to DC, when I really started freelancing, I was just like, I just want to do dance things. Anything centered around dance, let's do it. So, dancing with the company, but then teaching with this, anything that was dance centered, I kind of just did it. And there was probably also a financial piece, honestly, with that as well. But I tried to make sure that everything I did surrounded dance, because I think dance is, of course I'm going to say it's amazing, but it could be valued more. And I think keeping it at the center of things keeps it alive, keeps it growing, keeps it, I don't know, there's something about giving, when you give something to it, it just comes back. And I wanted to make sure that, I call it like a dance ecosystem. So as an entrepreneur, even in Brussels, connecting with my friends and bringing them into projects and then it's just, there's something about creating that web that I think benefits us not only financially, but kind of keeps our art alive and changing and growing in different ways. So when did I realize that I was an entrepreneur? Probably when I moved to Belgium, when I'm considered a self-employed artist. And the way that they treat me is like a business. So maybe it was that moment, probably, yeah.
So I'm interested from each of you. So one of the things about a portfolio career is that you have more options, and if one thing's up, another things might be down, but something else will balance that out. You're maybe more in control of your professional opportunities. You're not just waiting for the audition for an opportunity that someone else has for you. You can create your dance class. You can invite people. It's like, hey, there's no classes in English. Hey, there's also no classes in English, and I could fill that need, right? You create opportunities for yourself. But I think one of the interesting things about it is that there's the financial security, but there's also sort of this new discovery of meaning in the work that you do. So it sounds like, Briana, when you discovered teaching, you also went from thinking of teaching as like some sign of weakness as an artist, right, to then actually becoming a way for you to connect with people as something sort of deeply emotionally significant. So I wonder for each of you, if you can talk about, as you do different things, have you found different sense of purpose or different sense of meaning in what you do? Why don't we start with Alexandria?
That's a great question. So different sense of purpose. I would say that both the industries that I have pursued are very much passion-based industries. And so, yeah, I think my purpose for the most part out of my work is like feeling that level of fulfillment. Yeah, I don't really have a great answer for that. I'm sorry.
Well, that the work drives you. That you're finding that you can sustain that work in part because it fulfills that original commitment you had to the art form.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it kind of goes back to that thing that Briana was saying when she arrived in Belgium and she felt this kind of like core gut feeling that she was doing the right thing and that she was in the right place. I always say that I actually fell in love with sound before I fell in love with other humans. It very much was this like guttural switch in me when I discovered especially sound. And as for motion graphics, I kind of got into it as well through COVID downtimes because I mostly work in live music, so concerts were out. And I've always been able to get lost in television, like cartoons. And so that was really what drove me to it. Again, it's this constant balance in my head of like, okay, I only want to pursue things that like I am interested in, because if I don't have this ground level interest, then it's a lot harder to force myself to like do the boring sides of things, whereas like you have this other payoff if you have the passion underlying it and the guttural instinct of like, this is what I need to do.
Jonathan, do you want to jump in? Did you discover anything new in these new activities about meaning and purpose?
Well, I think once you get to a certain age, it's almost like a natural progression, I suppose. I found that I do enjoy working with younger people and adults as well. I coach adults as well. And you find yourself, as I say, at a certain age in that kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi situation where you're passing on, but you're there to pass on the knowledge, but at the same time, you take the energy and learn new things from other people, particularly from young people as well. And it becomes quite a circular way of working in a sense. So I actually get more energy and more passion, I think, for my art as an actor, and through teaching, particularly. So it's been very complementary.
Did any of you have a moment when you got scared it wasn't going to work and you thought, maybe I've made a mistake? You considered
Every
giving
day.
Every day.
It's the honest answer. Yeah.
I agree. Honestly, it's something I thought would go away over time, but I think the nature of freelancing is that of uncertainty and also the nature of working in, I mean, my industry is very technology based, and so there's a constant need to stay up to date on technology, and I think a little bit of fear is good to keep you driven. Not too much, you don't be living in anxiety, but I think when you get comfortable is kind of when you stop being interested and when you stop being curious, as Briana was talking about earlier.
What keeps you going? How about Nadine? Why don't you answer that?
What keeps me going? I know that I am where I'm supposed to be. I used to be told that artist is not, it's not a profession. I used to be told that, and I started my journey trying to fit in the box, doing, having a degree and finding a normal job, and I was not fulfilled. I was not fulfilled. I knew deep down inside of me that something was off. And in 2011, I made what I say, like what I call my artistic coming out. After my master's degree, I came to this realization, I want to be an artist. And when I made that decision in my heart, I was really happy because I knew the pain of not being in my purpose. So now I can go on and paying the price because I know that despite the difficulty, despite the challenges, I know that I am supposed to be. I am where I'm supposed to be, so nothing can stop me.
Oh, that's beautiful. So clearly we have 4 friends and artistic collaborators here. Can you talk about the importance of networking, friendships, being kind to people, being honest? I mean, I think in my early experience of being an artist, it was all about competition. It was always about beating the other person. Like in grade school, you'd be sitting, I'm a wind instrumentalist, and so I'd be in band, and there'd be a chair challenge, and you'd have to play live against your friends, and whoever was better would move up, and whoever was not prepared that day would move down. And it was a very public and sort of awful experience and so you were in fear of these moments at all times, but other people were sort of cast to me anyway as being threats rather than being collaborators. And that doesn't seem to be the habit of mind that the 4 of you have. So was there a moment when you realized how important it was to have teammates in surviving as an artist? Or can you just give some advice maybe to younger people today about how they should go ahead and building that team for themselves?
Well, I understand what you're saying about that, that competitive nature. I think underlying that, I still have an edge there. There is a sense of competitiveness. I think you still need that to an extent. But certainly here in Belgium, where the perhaps opportunities in English are fewer, I only work in English, the community is smaller as well. So if you get yourself a bad reputation, you're quickly just not going to be welcome. People are not going to hire you. And, and all the projects I work with, for me, it's very important to have an unthreatening, open atmosphere, where you can collaborate equally. it's just so much more rewarding, you know. If you've got one difficult person on set, it can really just turn the atmosphere, and the results you get are, well, could turn out well, but very often, you know, you don't enjoy it as much. And I think you've got to enjoy the industry, and you've got to really enjoy what you're doing, and it's the people around you that really help you on that journey. So personally, it's very important for me just to be nice to people, you know, you just connect with people, to talk to people, and you know, build relationships and network. You have to keep the network, particularly in Belgium. That's the way it works.
Mm-hmm. Briana, who was the first artistic friend that you made in Belgium, and was it just your roommate who tipped you off to that opera opportunity?
Well, the thing is, you remember I did my Euro trip, so I met tons of people. Let's talk about during my Euro trip. Well, I met Nadine, actually, during my Euro trip. She was one of many dancers, actually, that I met. And wow, so we're going on 10 years of friendship. That's crazy. And when I remember meeting them, it was just like, yeah, I do this thing called stepping. And they're like, what's that? It was like we were exchanging, actually. We were kind of just sharing what we love to do and kind of starting from that honest place. It kind of just grew from there. So I'm still, very connected to a lot of those people that I met at the time. And I think what's interesting about Belgium, at least what I've discovered, is that people just want to work with people they like. I'm simplifying it, but it's true. Like, if we get along well, and of course we're good at what we do, then like Jonathan was saying, we work better together, and so we'll create great things together. So it's important to be honest, be kind, I guess simplistically, and authentic in that sense,
Mm-hmm. What, for the four of you, is the key skill that you had to develop that maybe you didn't have when you were in school to be a successful artist entrepreneur? I mean, what are the things you learned that have allowed you to be successful?
Making friends.
Making friends?
Yeah, it's something I'm continuingly trying to learn how to meet new people and communicate with them, because, you know, this whole industry is word of mouth, from my perspective at least. And I think when you're looking into like, okay, how do I get jobs, right? A lot of it is like, number one, I need to be in the right room. So how do I get into that room? And number two, once I'm in that room, I need to speak to people in a way where they're able to hear me. And so what does that mean? You know, like, is it the way that you're presenting yourself? Is it who is presenting you and giving you the opener? You know, the liaison of like that opening moment is so important, and sort of figuring out, you know, obviously you don't want to like just be nice to people to use them. Like, you genuinely like to develop friends, and I think that's also a really important thing, is like concentrating on the fact that like you need to network and you need to have a network, but you also need friends outside of your work. And I really appreciate Briana for that, because she is a creative and she's someone who I can like have all these really great discussions with, but I mostly work in live concerts and she does dance, and so it's different. And I really appreciate having this person that's like outside of the world a little bit. But yeah, I think learning how to open yourself up to people in a way that can be received is something that I don't think I will ever stop learning, because everyone is different.
Yes, now I think, I mean, just adding to that as well, for me, it's also putting yourself outside your comfort zone. That's what I've learned to do. I mean, naturally as an introvert, and I was, you know, as a youngster, very much an introvert. I think, you know, drama and theatre helped me with that, to develop personally as well. But consciously making decisions to take on jobs, to take on, as Briana was talking about, taking risk, really. Put yourself just a little bit further outside your comfort zone. You never know where it's going to take you. And actually, you know, you find you do grow, and you perhaps are more capable than you may believe at the time.
Is sort of financial planning and tax structure and business entities, has that been something that's part of your life now in a way you didn't expect?
Yes.
Yes.
It is. Yes, it is. So, I mean, as a freelancer, a self-employed person in Belgium in particular, like, I have to pay my own Social Security, right?
Yeah.
So here we have like 1099s and like, oh, they just give you a form, it's cool. Nah. So I have to like pay that every 3 months, which means I need to save that money in an account on the side to make sure I have it. So like that type of planning. So that alone really forced me to wake up a little bit in Belgium, to be mindful of like, finances. Okay, what do I need to pay in 3 months, and what does this look like? And this is, of course, professional expenses, but there's also my personal expenses as well. And I think that's probably one thing I wish I would have had earlier is more financial wellness and really thinking about how to really like manage your money. But I've learned a lot since I moved, but for the better. And I feel like there's still so much that I could learn. But
was it hard to move to a foreign country and then get work permits and all of that kind of thing, or was that relatively easy?
Was it easy? I get that question a lot. So when I applied for my visa, I applied for pretty much my work permit before I moved. And when I applied, I pretty much said, I want to be an artist in Belgium. Here's my whole life. Literally, here are pay stubs. Here are posters of shows that I was in. Here's a letter of support from, like, I had to show them that I actually was like a dancer. And then with all that information, they said, yes, they trusted me to, go to Belgium and make it happen. And luckily, we're doing it.
That's amazing.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
I am sorry to interrupt, but I want to transition into an audience Q&A that can engage Briana and our guest. Speaking of money, this was one of the most expensive pieces of this grant, and I would like to use it. Okay, so if you are able, I would like you to stand up and go to a different part of the auditorium. You can toss this mic around. And I want to be able to toss it.
Brandon, there we go.
Thank you. Yay, yay, yay. Somebody's going to do it. Okay. I'm going to throw it to him, and then he's going to throw it to someone else. And you can ask anyone on the panel a question. And this is meant to be fun, guys, because this is pretty serious. So I wanted to add a fun element. So here we go.
Come on, Mish, you got it.
Perfect throw.
You can actually talk into the box, Brandon. Oh, y'all know Catch Box? New for me. Very new for me.
Well, I guess this assumes I have a question right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were to relocate from Brussels within the EU, where would that be at this point in your life?
Were you able to hear the question? Yep, okay. So if you were to relocate anywhere in the European Union at this point in your life, where would you go and why? It looks like they like Brussels.
Oh, yeah. Love Brussels. I can answer. It's weird saying this. I'd probably go to France because I speak French fluently now, and I think it's a skill that I want to continue to work and refine. And because I already started in Belgium and I have my like stepping, movement, and sound thing, I'd love to expand further into the EU. And because I speak French, I can make it more accessible to people that say don't speak English and whatnot. So maybe France.
Now, did you study French before you went, or did you pick it up when you were there?
No, I actually took a couple years at my high school, and then I took a year here because I had to. I was in LSNA. And then when I moved to Belgium, I still had the basic conjugations. Then I just started talking to people. And then, I was dating a French speaker, and then over time, it kind of just happened. Fluency is it's a moment. It's kind of crazy how it happens, but yeah.
That's great.
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know how to answer it.
Yep.
Also, wait. Okay.
We have if you just wait, there's going to be another question. You'll be saved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pamela Stuart. I'm Briana Stewart's mother. And it's such a pleasure to be here and to see and speak to you internationally. I'm very impressed by that. Thank you so much. I want to ask this question about your inner child. Have you satisfied that inner child years ago, decades ago for some of us, that told you, I want to do this? You know, has that been satisfied, or are there still some things that you have on the horizon that you've never told anyone, but you're secretly trying to still do it?
That's a great question.
Oh, wow. I did not mean to stump you.
I love that question. I feel like it goes back to that thing that Briana was saying earlier about staying curious. And it's funny that she said that, because I talk about that a lot, where I really believe that the day that you stop being curious is the day that you become an old person. Like, I know people whose ages are quite high, but they seem like very young people because they stayed curious. And I think a really big part of staying curious is staying in touch with that inner child and always listening to them. And I feel like as you get older and you experience different things you have to overcome, different aspects of that child get presented to you that you need to look at and talk to. And I think trying to develop an ongoing conversation with your inner child is very important.
Now, for me as well, I mean, of course, the grey hair is there, so the childhood is a long period away, but the inner child is very much alive. I think once that inner child is gone, then that is the day that you lose the passion. So that's what keeps you going. I think it's called hope as well, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful question. Actually, the more I'm mature, or the more I get mature, the more I am connected to my inner child. I think that's a beautiful way to grow, being a child. And I knew since I was a child that I was an artist. And when I made that decision to be an artist, I was really connected to this child. So I made peace with this child like a long time ago.
So you want to answer that question in front of your mom?
Well, it's funny thinking about inner child. I'm thinking about myself as a child, and I was quite introverted. I didn't really talk to people. And I think that my relationship with, I guess, my inner child or younger Briana is really good, but it's only now that I'm really like opening up a bit more. And I feel like my inner child I feel like she's happy with that, because I've been kind of like, what am I doing? I don't need to share with people. I used to call myself a quiet storm. I'm gonna do stuff and not tell people, I'm moving to Belgium. People are like, what? Like, what? That just came out of nowhere. But nowadays, I'm a little more open, and I think that's what my inner child has always wanted, for me to speak up and just like, so, yeah.
All right, thank you. Well, I'll tell you what mine is, and I have not been hush-hush about it. I still see myself as a soul-trained dancer.
I don't think I knew that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, thank you, son.
Well, thank you for giving us Briana. You've done a marvelous job.
Any other questions? One more? Awesome. Okay, so, Mark, do you have one last question? If not, we can transition to the award portion of the evening.
Well, with that kind of introduction, how can I hold us back from celebrating these amazing artists? So thank you all for being here and sharing your insights. It's really been inspiring to me, and I think inspiring to the audience here, and hopefully on your website, inspiring for many, many more people to come. But we're super proud of all you've done, Briana, and thank you for bringing us all together today. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much. And thank you, friends.
Thank you, panelists.
Thank you, Mark. Now I'm talking in the box. Thank you so much, Mark. Give me a handshake. Thank you, I appreciate it, I really do.
Thank you, Demetrius.
Thank you guys for those lovely questions. I transition to box now. Okay. Without further ado, I'm going to be transitioning to the award segment of the evening. I'm going to present Robin Wilson and Amy Shabazz. I'll get you want to use the box?
I need a box too. No, I don't need a box. I know how to use my outside voice. So good evening.
Oh, you want to come up? Let's go this way.
Darling, in the middle.
But we're behind the
Flank, either
chairs.
side.
Oh, right.
theater. Okay, we're going to reset the stage.
Robin, what? Oh. Nope.
No.
No, it's fine. No worries. Perfect.
This one here taught me so much when I was working with her on her BFA capstone project. I remember talking, well, every conversation we had, I remember asking you, this is going to sound really crazy, but I say, I wanted to know what the difference was between white sororities and black sororities.
Oh, what did I say?
Okay, right?
She's
Clueless,
grown a
right?
lot.
But I learned a lot. So that was, I remember having lunch with you and all our great conversations. This is such a joyful, happy homecoming, and it has been many years in the making. So thank you so much, Demetrius.
So, it's been a wonderful pleasure to see Briana go through this process, showing up in my house to eat salad, and suffer through my teaching methods class, as it were. So it's been exciting to hear her along the way and have her find her way. Every year she drops in to my Africanist dance traditions class to talk about the role of step. We've done it on Zoom. We've done it on Zoom remotely as well as in person. So we've been really happy to have her here. So it's a really great pleasure and an honor to be able to give this recognition of the Emerging Dance Artist Award in the Emerging Artist in Dance. Darn it. I'll read it. Emerging Artist Award in Dance.
Can I take out the plastic?
It recognizes, in recognition of her significant contributions as a dancer, choreographer, and educator. So it is something that we do in the dance department every year, but it's been a great pleasure in particular to see this young one find her way in another country and still bring that joy and exuberance with her. We were commenting on whenever we see pictures of her in her promotional materials, she's herself. She's moving, she's smiling, she's laughing, rather than being austere and stoic. And it really is exemplary. It really is a perfect example of who she is and how she brings everything of who she is to what she does. So it's really a great pleasure and an honor to have been part of this journey, and I'm excited to see where it takes you. And I'm super excited that you are all here to witness this with her.
Thank you. One final thing. Another amazing gift is that you stay in touch. You bring us along on your journey with you. And I appreciate that so much because I'm a world traveler, but working here less so now, but I live vicariously through you, and I appreciate that so much. So stay in touch with your folks and your friends and your teachers and bring us along on your journey. And thank you, Briana.
I'll hold this while you say something in response.
My professors, these quirky, I love it. Creatives, I love it. As you saw at the beginning of my talk, this is very emotional, right? I literally went to this school, left, did stuff, and I'm back. It's very kind of surreal, actually, to be back at Michigan, remembering being on campus in the snow, taking the bus that's full, oh my God, don't stop believing at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's very surreal, but I am so lucky to have all of you as supporters, to have my lovely professors as well to give me this award as an emerging artist. And it's funny because in seeing this award, I truly am emerging. I feel that. And I can't wait to come back as, I'm not gonna say a complete or full artist, but with even greater things. This motivates me to keep going, to keep sharing, and to keep dance at the forefront of just everything that I do because it's given me so much and brought some amazing people into my life. I know. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, photo? Yeah. Mark is also a photographer. He usually has his camera.
I know, I'm unprepared.
Thank you, Mark. That's going to be the culmination of the event today and the 2-week residency. I want to thank you all for tuning in online, and thank you all for our audience for showing up. Thank you. Bye-bye.